So we know Bluelock is all about creating the perfect striker, but positions are just as important as you do need a whole team to play a game of football. You got defenders, midfielders, and of course forwards, all the obvious stuff. So I think it's super important to know the best players in each position. A lot of people have been asking me to make this video. I'm just kidding, nobody asked, but I feel like it is really important to know who's good and where for the Japan U20. This was actually a harder video to make as certain players can be put in certain formations or certain ideologies, but I'm just making a general list as to who I think is the best. Some really good players do get put away, and some really underrated players get more time to shine, so stick around for the whole video to see the rankings. My name's Hiryo. Thank you guys so much for 7,000 subscribers. It literally means the world to me, and I promise we're gonna make it together, boys, and get that 10k eventually. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're interested in discussing anything Bluelock, join my community Discord, links in the description as always. That being said though, let's jump straight into it. So these are the 11 positions I'm gonna be ranking, just the usual, and then here's the chart of where each position is. This could technically be made into a roster video or like starting 11, but we're just ranking the best player in the position overall, not just how well people work together. I don't know, let's just get into it. At the goalkeeper position, it's probably the most obvious one to you, but it's got to be the GOAT, Gagamaru. With a flexible body and reflexes fast enough to fight a bear, I think Gagamaru is literally the most obvious choice out of all these guys. I said it before, but he is the best goalkeeper we've seen in Bluelock throughout the whole series, even counting the U20 and the NEL level players. They literally all fodder compared to Gagamaru, and he went through an awakening in the Ubers game. So yeah, no brainer for Gagamaru. There's literally no other competition unless you're choosing EM. The two center backs. These are kind of the obvious ones as well. We got Aiku and Nico. We got the final wall and the watchtower. Rest in peace to Ryu. I personally just think these guys are way more well-rounded individually. Technically, you could say that Aiku can make up for Nico's vision, and then you just have Ryu capitalizing, but we're just ranking the positions. That's why I said it's not a roster video. But anyways, Aiku is another no-brainer. He pretty much carried the U20's defensive strategy. Has a lot of weapons like physicality, metavision, and great reflexes. Bro is literally seeing what his winning percentage is like a cheat code. Nico's vision is able to stop last-minute threats. It's also a good counter against other metavision users, and as we all know, there will be more metavision users down the line. His ability to read the field is also no joke, and is especially helpful for those last-minute clutch plays, especially as a center back. I personally think these abilities and stuff like that are better than someone like Ryu, who has better physicality and can watch the high ground and stuff. So yeah, Nico and Aiku in the center back position. Next up is going to be the right wing back, the side back, full back, I don't even know, my back, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be our boy Corona Ronse. Alright, so this is probably the biggest mix-up right now, but I think Corona is genuinely the best wingback currently. My honorable mention for the spot is going to be Yuki Miya, but I think Corona is just a little bit better and adds a little bit more. He is currently playing in the right wingback position, so that's a plus, and he's also very good at it. Short passes, fast turns, and with his speed, it helps him move up the field very fast, and he can act more as a support for people that are up there like Isagi. I know I said no combos or whatever, but it doesn't have to be specifically Isagi. He could support anyone because it's such a versatile weapon, and it also just adds another offensive attack pattern, which is good for mix-ups and whatnot. I don't know if he has defensive feats, but with his fast turns and his speed, it could also just help on defense since he's so close to it. If you want to speed up the pace of the match, Corona is literally who you choose, or to just have another reliable passing option. That's why I think Corona is better off than some of these other guys. Corona just adds to other players who are already good and makes them even better, which I think makes a good wingback because he's able to support so much. I know a lot of people are 50-50 with Corona. There's people that like him and people that think he's just another pass bot, but I think Corona's skills are deserving enough to call him the best right wingback. Next to the left wingback spot, it's the one and only princess, Chigiri. Now, even though Chigiri is playing in the winger position, which means he's a little further up, I think he's better fit for the wingback spot. There are some more offensive options you want to have up there, and since his weapon is speed, he can just easily catch up and move up and down, just like the U20 match. And he could use his speed to catch up to people on defense, like the second selection where he was just hounding people like a dog. Now, why he's specifically on the left side and not the right side, it's an obvious one. It's the 44 Panther Snipe. It just adds another weapon to his arsenal, and again, he can literally just run up and down that left side and just own it. So even though it's a little further back and they don't move up as often as the people in midfield or forward spots, I still think Chigiri is perfect for the left wing back. Next is the defensive midfielder spot, or CDM. It's gonna go to Karasu. He's played the position before, super analytical player, and the ball keeping skills. I think he's really fit for the position. No Karasu slander here, but you could also put Raichi in the spot, so I guess Raichi is an honorable mention. munchen. I said earlier that it really depends on formations and plays you're going for. Like, if you want to play more offensively, I think Karasu is better. And in general, Bluelock is an offensive team, so that's why I picked him. But if you're going to be more defensive, or if there's an ace you really need to shut down, just like the Ubers match, you can just send Raichi in. So I think those two are pretty swappable, but in general, Karasu is going to come out on top. He kind of has the same argument as Shigirian. He can move up if he's needed, and he can also mark the weakest link of the team. So Raichi can do the strongest, and Karasu can do the weakest, both of which just eliminate one player from the pitch, which is super good. So I currently think that Karasu is the best defensive midfielder right now. That may or may not change depending on the PXG match. Literally all the 6 are on that match right now. But anyways, that wraps up the defense, and moving on to the center midfielder, we got Mikage Rayo. I feel like I somehow bring Rayo up in every single video. I don't know why. He's just somehow making an appearance. But Rayo just got a lot of weapons and abilities to help him in the midfield position, so it just makes sense. Copy is insanely broken. We all know that. Then Metavision on top of that, he can just scan the field for threats or anything. If he needs to move up or get past people on his own, he got the striker mode. Boom, there's that. If he needs to play defense, he got the chameleon defense. It's good. Rayo is just good. I can't even say more, man. Obviously, we all know him for his midfielder feeds, passes, and stuff like that. Even if it isn't Nagi he's specifically passing to, Rayo would still just make a good person to have as a passer. Hiyori could be argued as a better midfielder since he's just calm and has passes comparable to Itoshi Sai, but I think Rayo's flexibility beats that out. Moving on to the wingers, this is the hardest decision out of all the positions so far. That's why I say it's so important to know the context of what you're going into, but individually, for the right winger, I'm putting Bachira, and for the left side, I'm putting Barou. The honorable mentions for this spot, we got a lot. Like, you could have put Kunagami or you could have put Nagi in these spots. In fact, I was gonna put Nagi over Barou, but I'll go into that when we discuss him. So Bachira has to be making this list. I think he's one of the top players in Bluelock because of how versatile he is and the fact he's literally dunking on these NEL players. Since he's left wing, he can either push up himself or use his passing skills to help support the forwards or literally anyone else. And then again, he can push up on his own if he needs to and just score on his own. I put him up here compared to someone like Chigiri because I think his 1v1 skills are better, so that's why he's further up. Alright, Barou in the left spot is probably a controversial one, but I think he's just the best here. A strong overall player who can move up on his own, take players in 1v1s, and then devour other players. Flipping the script is just crazy good for him. Even though he is pretty selfish and returning to his king-like ways, I still think it's good to have him on the pitch for a mix-up. His skills as well obviously can't be denied. We can't be blind to it just because he's Isagi's dog. Predator's Eye also helps his scoring capability, and regardless of what side he's on, he needs to be in the middle for his mid-range shot, so technically he could be put in the right wing and it wouldn't make a difference. Remember, I'm only doing how well it fits in a general team. If that makes sense, not specific combos or anything, since it's a little biased. Like, Nagi and Rayo work best together, but I can't just rank it off that. But someone like Corona and Isagi, for example, work better together, but still work individually, if that makes sense. Next up are the two final offensive spots, the offensive midfielder and the striker. Yeah, never mind. This is definitely the hardest decision because everyone biases different characters and stuff, and each person has their own reasoning. Yeah, no matter what, I think people are still gonna call me a glazer, but the first position, the offensive midfielder or the CAM, it's gonna be Isagi for me. The spot is a mix-up between him and Rin. I think Isagi can work well in the striker position as well, but there are some other characters that have better scoring capability. Even though Isagi is working to be the best striker, it's no doubt that his skills are most useful in the midfield currently, just because his weapon is literally spatial awareness compared to other weapons that actually help score. No matter what though, he can still score from this position pretty confidently, especially because Metavision can help him find the best spots to use his other weapons like direct shot or his lefty. I also think because he's so knowledgeable on where to go, who he needs to watch out for, and who he needs to devour on his own team, that it's perfect for an offensive midfielder. Debating Isagi and Rin for the offensive midfielder is like comparing a bed and a mattress. I don't even know what that means, but it's super hard to compare them because they're both super similar, but have things that separate them. For example, Isagi's IQ, I would say at this point surpasses Rin's, but we also haven't seen Rin yet. Rin, I believe, still has a better scoring capability than Isagi, even though he has lefty direct and Metavision to help him with direct shot. Personally though, just my opinion, I think Isagi currently fits best at the offensive midfielder position, and he is the best at it. Striker. Now, I thought I was gonna get flamed for the last one, but I'm definitely gonna take some backlash for this one. I'm putting Rin here. Okay, I get it. This is a position video, and position-wise, a striker is supposed to score goals. It's what Bluelock is all about. I'm not reading Redlock. but hear me out here. Rin has the playmaking, creativity, and skills to help him in the position of striker compared to someone like Shido, who is better at scoring, which is the main focus. Shido completely flipped the script for the Japan U20 match. I mean, Bluelock would have won pretty definitively if he didn't sub in, but we gotta remember Sai was also handing him really good passes. I know it's always the same argument, and I do see that as one of Shido's improvements later on. He will be able to make way more individualistic plays everywhere compared to the individualistic plays he makes only in the goal box. But I think Rin, because he can make those individualistic plays around the pitch currently, like going crazy with his dribbling, playing with his instincts, and literally stopping Shido, it can help him score more and fit the role of a striker. Alright, so that's each player I think is the best in their respective positions, all according to my opinion. Now, I can't even lie, I am pretty biased, but I think the reasonings I give make a lot of sense for why I chose who I chose. Let me know if I should make any swaps or if you just agree or disagree with the list. I think this is pretty biblically accurate. Like the video if you haven't already. It helps me out so much, and again, thank you so much for watching to the end. It's a grind out here, but I trust in it and I trust in you guys, and I appreciate all of you for always tuning in. My name's Hiryo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.